And we are live. We are live. Come on in, people. Come on in. We have a great treat for you today. I'm going to wait until I see that people know that we're live. We're going to hear a couple dings. There's the first one. Shrine of My Aunt is now live with Rashaad Singleton on Facebook, on the Shrine of My Aunt Facebook page. And people, we are going to get into reparations. We about to get into it. We're going to talk about what people don't talk about. We gloss over, glaze over it, look around it, pretend we don't see it. We see the shift of wealth in this country and in Europe, quite frankly. And people want to act like they don't owe foundational Black Americans money. But we're going to talk about it tonight, y'all. We have a very knowledgeable guest who has spent lots of time and energy and knows a lot about reparations. And tonight, what we're going to do is to learn about what are reparations and why do we need reparations. But before we get into that, I want to recognize our distinguished guest, Rashaad Singleton. Rashaad has played professional basketball, plays professional basketball, played for UGA. He is an author and an entrepreneur. So I'd like to welcome our distinguished guest, Rashaad Singleton, to Tuesday Talk. Welcome, Rashaad.
Thank you, sis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with you this evening.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, you know what, y'all? I came across Rashaad on Instagram. I was like, who is this Rashaad Singleton guy talking about reparations? Who is this? And so I went to his page and I saw lots of positive, uplifting posts about Black people, about what we can do. I learned stuff from his page. I DM'd him on Instagram and he replied back, and we have gotten to know each other. I don't know, I guess for a year, something like that. I don't even know. I should figure that out later. But anyway, the interaction that I had with Rashaad let me know that he is the type of Black man that our community needs and that our community has. And he is an example of how we are going to move forward in us reclaiming our African minds so that we can unify and continue to do the things that we need to do. In order to do anything, we need to have our money to do that. Okay. But before we get into that, Rashaad, can you tell us a little bit about your basketball career?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm 7 feet tall. So, naturally, playing basketball was just a thing to do for me. Um, and it's been great. I've played position 4 and 5 power forward center. Um, Played that throughout high school and ended up getting a scholarship to the University of Georgia. Um, that was a great experience, getting out of Florida, seeing the way different cultures are. Sometimes when you grow up in a small town, the greatest gift that a child can receive is the opportunity to see how other people are living, to adapt in other cultures. So, going to a out of state college helped me, just to see how different, civilizations were. And it was a great overall experience. And ended up getting with the New York Knicks summer league team back in 2009. That was a terrific experience as well. And everything was wonderful. And then I had a little injury, and I took a little time off, and I ended up going overseas. So I played in Japan my first year playing professional basketball, and that was fantastic. That was fantastic. That allowed me, a country Black man that grew up on a dirt road, to see how other people in other countries live. One thing that I noticed when I was there was that Japanese people own businesses, businesses on top of businesses. The fish markets was owned by Japanese people. The electric companies were owned by Japanese people. The telephone companies were owned by Japanese people. I didn't see any white people owning these businesses. And I said, wow, this is interesting. This is something that my people don't know anything about. So that was kind of the first, like, maybe America isn't all that she claims that she is. And that's what I've been doing for the last few years, sis. Just bouncing around different countries, playing basketball, seeing how other people adapt, seeing what America is missing, what America needs. We
Mm,
always talk about what other countries are missing. We don't talk about what we're missing. We could learn a lot from
mm,
other countries, um, but we have to humble ourselves to do so. So yeah, that's been it, sis. Basketball has been a tool for me to use to make connections and be able to network on a global scale. And I'm very grateful for that.
mm. He said network on a global scale. That is definitely something to be grateful
Yes.
for. Yeah, and what Rashad said was he noticed that the people who live in that country own the property and businesses of their own communities.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that they
Mm-hmm.
control the ebb and the flow of who's there and what they see, what they hear, what they read. All of those things go into having the economics that you need when you control the economics in your own country. So yes, absolutely,
Correct.
going to a homogenous country like Japan and seeing how the power dynamics work is something that we need as an example. And it's not like we haven't had that before,
Mm-hmm.
but we definitely don't have it the way that we had it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that now for sure. So, Rashad, can you
Mm-hmm.
tell us about how you became an author and what books have you written?
Oh, yes. These are my babies.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll answer the latter question first. I wrote The Hypocrisy of Democracy,
Mm,
How the American Dream Became the African American Nightmare.
mm.
I wrote Ode to the Black Queen, God's Greatest Creation.
I know that's right.
I wrote Arise Brother, This is a Call to Black Kings. I wrote They're Moving Us Out, America's War and Gentrification on Black Communities. I also wrote some youth books. One is called Prince Isaiah. It's
Hmm.
about a young black prince who has a magical dragon. We always grew up watching other people and displayed as princes and other girls displayed as princesses. Where was the black princess? So Prince Isaiah is a series that I'm constantly, trying to critique and get it better. And I actually want to make it an actual cartoon one day. So very excited about Prince Isaiah. The other one is Dear Eighth Grader. Dear Eighth Grader is about um, just trying to make 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds aware that their permanent record matters. I don't think there's an emphasis on permanent records to these young kids. And we always say, oh, your life starts at 18. Well, that's not necessarily true in America.
That's right.
Your life is actually starting around 14 because your permanent record can dictate on where you go to school at, where you go to
That's
college
right.
at, on what you do with your life. So you thinking that you can act a fool in the ninth grade, and you think you can act a fool in the 10th grade, and you think 11th grade and 12th grade, I'm just gonna be good. You know what colleges do? They look back and they say, "What happened here in the ninth grade? You want to tell me about that?"
That's right.
So when it comes between you having good grades and a bad person having good grades, the only difference is the disciplinary actions. Is this a bad seed or not? So I'm trying to invoke that into young people that, hey, dear eighth grader, wake up. That's the name of the book.
Oh,
To just
really?
wake them up and let them know that your permanent record matters. So
Mm.
that's another one. That's one of mine. You see, these are all my little children. These are like my little puppies. You know what I mean? These are my babies right here. I love all my books because they truly came from my heart and they truly are for my people.
Mm.
But I guess to get even more specific, um, sis, they they did a lot of killing on our people between 2016, 2018, 2019. They was just killing us a lot. And that was around Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Freddie Gray, Sandra Bland. The name goes on and on and on. And this was the time I went to Russia, had an injury, and I had to take a year off from basketball. So all I could do was just read and, see what's going on. I'm not really a TV person, so I just began to read. And I wanted to research, why are these white people like this? I need to know. So I
Right.
started looking at the history. And the history told the story. They wasn't just like this today. They was like this yesterday. They was like this 20 years ago. They was
Yep.
like this 100 years ago.
Yep.
And have I, as an athlete, been under the protection of a basketball jersey? And have I not been able to see clearly what's really going on with our people? Because sometimes when you play sports with white people, sometimes when you work on a job with white people, that can, how can I say this delicately, neutralize you. That can neutralize you to the point where you don't know if you should fight for your people or not because
Mm.
you don't want to make white people uncomfortable. And isn't that the plight of our people here in America? If only some black people was willing to make white people a little bit more uncomfortable, we would get some things done. So as I'm watching these people in uniforms kill our people in that time period, 2018, 2019, I'm on Facebook one day and this video pops up. It's a live video. Some people go Facebook Live and they live on Facebook and it's
Mm-hmm.
being shared and all these people watching this video. Well, it's a black man on the ground with
Mm.
cops on top of him. His name was Alton Sterling. He was selling CDs in front of a store in Louisiana. And white police officers put a gun to his chest and pulled the trigger
Mm.
on Facebook Live. The next day, not the next week, not the next month, the next day on Facebook Live again, a brother by the name of Philando Castle is pulled over and they ask for his gun license. He reaches for his gun license and the police officer shot him in front of his girl and his child.
Yep. Yep.
So I'm thinking about all of this and I'm distraught. I'm just trying to process all this together, and I'm seeing everybody showing outrage. All the brothers over here, these people, all the sisters over here, yo. And I noticed something, sis. I noticed my white friends,
Yep.
they didn't have anything to say.
Nothing.
They were posting pictures of their children. They was posting pictures of their dogs. They was posting pictures of the latest sports scores.
Yep.
But they didn't have a damn thing to say about these two black men that was just lynched on Facebook Live. And I said right then and there, Rashaad, these white people care about you, but they don't care about your people. They care about you because you rebound and block shots, Negro. You ain't wearing that jersey. They don't care about you.
Facts.
It dawned on me. Guess what, sis? If you don't care about my people, you don't care about me.
Facts.
That's what we have to realize. If you don't care about my people, you can't possibly care about me because I am my people.
That's right.
You can't be one without the other. So, in understanding all of this, there's many weapons in this world. Some people use the gun. Well, I got things to do besides being locked up behind a white man's bars. Another weapon is the pen. You see, the pen is one of the mightiest weapons. And I said, how can I reach my people? I want to speak. I'm a speaker. But every great speaker I know had his own book to stand on. And it was at that moment I said, I need a book. I have to write a book. I'm a basketball player. I don't know nothing about writing no books. But I said, if I want to call myself a black scholar, I need a book.
Right.
I wrote the table of contents. I know my beginning is an introduction. I know my ending is a conclusion. And I just filled in the blanks. A black man thoughts. Nothing, nothing more than we think about and talk about every day. I just put it in the paper. And that's what made me do it, sis. Being a black man tired in America made me become an author. I had no aspirations to become an author, no great
Mm.
love to write 7 books. That wasn't no dream of mine. I'm tired,
Yeah.
and I have to get these frustrations out, and I choose to do it on the paper. And I
Mm.
want to do it in a way that not just is complaining, but is providing my people with reasonable solutions as well.
That's right. Mm. I didn't know all of that. I knew that you had written some books and I was aware of some of the titles of them, but I didn't know that watching them kill us for sport was what inspired you to, not inspired, but made you have an awareness where you wanted to know, what is it that I can do for my people. You know, I have to give a little bit of a narrative on when you talked about how these things happen to black people, and what are your white friends doing? Whatever they want to do, posting pictures with their little kids at soccer league, getting ice cream. They don't care. They don't care. When I was in high school, when I first kind of heard about women's lib and feminism, I knew that it wasn't for me. I just knew. I'm like, this ain't for black women. I don't really know why, but I just know that it's not. This is for white women. This isn't for me. And um, part of that is because I felt like this just served white women and not me as a black woman or teenager at the time. Fast forward to, I don't remember when exactly because so many situations happened. I just don't remember exactly, but I do remember thinking there are black people getting killed out here in these streets, and white people who call themselves my friends are posting pictures of their kids at soccer on Saturday and hockey on Sunday. And I had a friend who is this white woman who has a black daughter, her too.
Exactly.
Her black
Hmm.
daughter looks like she's my daughter that I had with a black man. And I remember having the conversation with
Mm-hmm.
her that the world is going to treat your black daughter the way the world treats me. And she looked like she had like a 3-second heart attack because she knows how this world treats black people. She doesn't want that treatment for her daughter.
Hmm.
And there's nothing more telling,
Hmm.
literally telling, than when something happens, like what happened in the scenarios that you mentioned. And white folks, it is just like a day, just another Wednesday, home watching Seinfeld reruns. It's ridiculous. I
Yeah.
I know exactly how you feel, how you felt when you made that realization. Like, yo, are you kidding me? Like, in your conscience, how can you sit here
Yeah.
and post pictures of your puppy when there's a massacre of black people that's been happening over the past 48 to 72 hours and you clearly just don't care? I remember having that same realization. I absolutely remember having that same realization. It's just like, yo, wow. So yeah, I recently saw Brother Umar on an Instagram page, somebody's page, I don't remember whose page it was, and he said
Mm-hmm.
black people don't have white friends. And when he said that, I knew what he meant. What he
Mm-hmm.
meant was, when push
Mm-hmm.
comes to a shove, when murders are happening, when the truth is told, at a certain point there's a line they're not going to cross, and they're going to stay on their own side and not care. And it's unfortunate, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
a reality of their subculture. I mean, it's just been pervasive for centuries. So
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is. And I've simply just accepted it. I've never put anybody out
Yeah.
of my life. Well, that's not true. I have. I have not put anybody out of my life based on my ideology and based on what guides me every day and my spirituality, and recognizing who I am as an African woman. But there have been plenty of people who've left
Mm-hmm.
it because it makes them uncomfortable. Just like you said earlier, my
Mm-hmm.
presence makes house Negroes uncomfortable, and most of the white folks that I know uncomfortable. And the other ones who are not uncomfortable might not be aware of what I'm doing in my life right now, as as a priestess in the shrine of my aunt. Tuesday Talk's been on fire this year. People have let me know. Some of the white people who still like me might not like me after they find out about Tuesday Talk. So thank you for letting us know how you've made your realization, like they care about you because you blocking shots. I remember when I was a little girl, Ralph Sampson was playing for the Houston Rockets. This was back in the short days,
Mm-hmm.
right? Ralph Sampson was a center, if I'm not mistaken,
Mm-hmm.
and he either
Mm-hmm.
made a shot,
Yep.
blocked a shot, he did something, and everybody in the Houston and the Rockets arena was cheering for him. They were and all you could see were white faces. And I remember my mother saying
Mm-hmm.
they only like him because he playing basketball for him. If he was walking down the street not wearing a Rockets uniform, he would just be another black man to them. They wouldn't even care about him. And I didn't get it exactly, but I knew as a child that my mama was a smart woman. And you know what? My mama was right.
Mm-hmm.
And you just said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And being a center,
Mm-hmm.
that made me think about the Ralph Sampson comment that was made, like, probably when you were born, back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So it is unfortunate, but it is a part of the reality. Now let me ask you
Right.
this question: what businesses do you have as an entrepreneur?
Oh well, basically, it would be import export. I'm kind of tapped into Angola. I played basketball in Angola there, so a range of products from grocery products to health products. Basically, just importing and exporting to different African countries, Angola specifically, though.
That is so
Um,
dope.
there's a few other things. Black Energy Shop is my clothing line. Very proud of that. Just trying to give our people more conscious wear. I don't feel like we really had a conscious clothing line.
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to kind of push out there, different quotes from different Black leaders and whatnot. It's been a fun experience, and just e-commerce in general.
Okay.
E-commerce is a great way to give our people passive income, and stocks as well. Understanding stocks, reading charts. I tell my Black people all the time, if you know how to post a picture on Instagram, but you don't know how to read a stock chart, you got work to do.
Right.
We gotta be able to read these charts now. You know what I mean? No excuses. And cryptocurrency as well, dabbling and dabbling in that. Looking to get into some real estate soon. I think it's time for that. So yeah, all praises to the Most High. Just building, sis. Just building.
I love every word of what you just said. We gonna have to catch up after this is over because I need to have you back to do the financial piece as well because that was super dope. Now let's
Most
get
definitely.
into our
Most definitely.
reparations. Can you tell us what are
Mm,
reparations and why should we have reparations? Like, what are reparations?
yeah. And that's a great question. When we talk about reparations, the first thing we have to do is start at the root of the word. Reparations means, first and most of all, to repair. To repair. Restorations means to restore. We always talk about reparations, we always talk about restorations, but let's break them down into what they are: repairing and restoring. Why is it that everybody got restored and repaired, but the descendants of slaves here in the United States? European Jewish people got reparations, so called Jewish people. Uh, Certain Native American tribes got reparations. Japanese Americans got reparations. They gave out reparations to some of the Alaska natives. Sis, even slave masters
Yep.
got reparations. But nothing was given to our people. The people who picked billions of dollars worth of cotton, the people who was master inventors who had their inventions stolen from them,
Hmm.
built universities to which we get no type of scholarship from these universities today. The list goes on and on. When we talk about reparations, people like to act like, well, what should we do for Black Americans? Should it be a housing fund or something?
Right.
Are you kidding me? Everybody I just listed got cash payments.
Period.
Why is it that everybody gets cash payments but us? It all goes back to the three-fifth compromise. They still, in their heart, don't see us as fully human. That's why they constantly doing inhumane things to us. But treating us inhumane doesn't make us any more inhumane. We're not inhumane. It
Right.
makes them inhumane. When you
That's
treat
right.
people inhumane, it makes you inhumane. The people that said we was three-fifths of a person, they need to go look in the mirror. And that's
Mm.
what white people, everything that they are, they try to put it on us.
Yep.
They said that they were genetically stronger. Science has told us that's a lie. They told us that they were genetically smarter. You can see the studies of newborn black babies compared to newborn white babies and tell me what baby sits up faster, what baby is walking faster, what baby starts talking faster. The studies is out.
Yep.
They're all out there. The genius of the black child can't be hidden unless it's suppressed.
Unless it's suppressed.
Okay.
That's right.
And that's what's going on out here. When we talking about reparations, we got to talk about six things. First and foremost is cash payments. Don't think you about to go through everything and not deal with, because that's what they stole from us the most. Stolen wages. Reparation, we're dealing with stolen wages. That can be calculated. That can be calculated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number two, we got to talk about land restitution.
Mm-hmm.
Everything comes from the land. To be quite honest, if every black person had about 80 acres of land, you might not need no money because you will be able to produce the money. Whoever
Yep.
said money don't grow on trees, they obviously, that's not an orange farmer. When I hear somebody say money don't grow on trees, that lets me know you don't know a lot about produce, because yes, it does. I know a lot of people who grow money on trees, actually. Money don't grow on trees. What the hell farmers out here doing their whole life?
Right.
Last time I checked, it does. Land restitution is important for community building. You know what I'm saying? When you got land and you growing something, I'm gonna tell you in South Carolina what my mentor told me they used to do. He said, growing up, man, nobody had no cash money. Money. He said everybody was broke when it came to money, but we all own 100 acres of land. So if you had some potatoes, well, hell, I got some chickens, and Billy over there got them some green. Willie got some green beans, and we all bartering. It was a bartering system.
Yep.
How many black people you know? You can't do a bartering system if you ain't growing nothing. What you gonna barter?
Period.
Some CDs? We gotta grow something.
Right.
We ain't got nothing we can barter no more. Land restitution is essential. Then we have to deal with the educational
Mm.
funds. We know black schools are some of the most neglected. Okay, we not only need funds for schools, we need proper education. Stop telling black children that their history started with slavery.
Right.
There is no people on the world whose history started with slavery.
Period.
They don't want to tell us about the African kings and queens. They don't want to tell us about Queen Nana Santawa of Ghana. Okay? They don't want to talk to us about the Candace queens, the great queens of Ethiopia, the queens of Angola, because they know if young black girls not just thought of themselves as a black queen, but knew that they come from royalty, that would change. That would change the vibrations. If you taught young black boys that they come from royalty
That's
rather than
right.
just slavery,
That's
they
right.
won't be doing slave things.
That's right.
You
That's
see,
right.
I'm an Israelite. When you know you're an Israelite, all praises to the Most High. It's nothing you can. It ain't no going back. We done did the research. We done added it all up. We come from royalty. And this is why we were brought over here, because we had many skills. The worst thing they can do is they keep telling us we was just picking cotton. You're talking about a nation of inventors. They said to see a white person doing work in the 1700s, 1800s, white people would marvel. there's a white man over there that know how to do something. They will stand around him. I'm not joking, sis. This is true. They will stand around this white man and be like, wow, how you know how to do that? And you're not black.
Right.
And they didn't even allow us to read. How were we masters of inventions and we couldn't even read? That don't make no sense. Wasn't allowed to read.
Right.
That's how genius, that's how amazingly brilliant our people are. I could go on about education all day, sis. But then we have to talk about housing funds. That deals with reparations. And we also have to talk about healthcare. You know what I mean? Our people being packed in some of these communities, like sardines, living on top
Yes.
of each other,
Yep.
buildings not being properly financed. I mean, I go visit some friends in New York. I'm from the country. I mean, the country. 80 acres of land, mind their own business country. I go to my friends in New York. I walk outside their house. I see 100 people to my left. I see 100 people to my right. I say, no, damn. I mean, damn. It's a lot. It's
Right.
a lot to do. When you live in on top of people like that, you don't know who to differentiate. Who's a foe? Who's a friend? So it makes you get it now. It makes, okay, I see why people, you can just be an innocent person and just anything can happen because it's so
Yep.
many people. And now I see why people are more aggressive. They're not smiling in your face all the time. They don't know who you is. They don't know what your intentions are. There was a person
Right.
that was nice like you, smiling like you, and almost tried to take me off this planet. That's part of the traumatization, the trauma that's happening. We don't talk about it. And the housing funds like that, our people as well as land, it will give our people just more sense of peace. We had this conversation the other day. And you know this more than anybody because you're a creator as well. When you are a creator, and you tell me if I'm wrong, sis, when you are a creator, the worst thing that can happen is for you to be stressed out. Because you don't feel like
Yes.
creating nothing when you stressed.
Right.
When you angry, you're like, man, I got plans to work on this. I wanted to do this, and now I'm thinking about this bull crap.
Right.
And that's what they constantly got our people doing. If I can just keep black people suppressed and if I will keep them angry and frustrated, that's gonna make me suppress that creativity. They're not gonna be as creative if they're always and no bigger thing than that. Come on now, sis. If I'm lying, I'm flying. No bigger thing to stress a person out than playing with his money. Oh, when the
Listen,
money get funny, I don't feel like creating nothing. I'm going to sleep.
you can't even
You
focus
know
on
what I'm saying?
anything.
I got to try to figure out this money problem.
Yep.
Ain't nobody got time to be trying to create nothing when you're thinking about money all the time. And the reason why people's thinking about money all the time because we haven't got our damn reparations.
That's right.
It's
That's
all
right.
tied to reparations. Police brutality, reparations. Housing funds, reparations. Scholarships, reparations. Land, reparations. All of it is tied to the unpaid reparations because it was supposed to be paid. That was done and did with, and they reneged. But they didn't renege on Japanese people. They didn't renege on the so-called Jewish people, and they didn't renege on Native Americans, and they damn sure didn't renege on slave masters. But they renege on us. I'm not gonna stand for it. I'm gonna fight for what's ours, and if I have to make white people uncomfortable along the way, then so be it.
Then so be it. If white folks and the house Negroes too are feeling uncomfortable
Mm,
because reparations is being fought for, then that's just their problem. And thank you for explaining
mm-hmm,
all of that. And yeah, I have some friends from South Carolina, and they grew up on a farm, and both of them have talked about their childhood or whatever, and people having hundreds of acres of land 1,000 acres. Now, I was born and raised in Hartford, Connecticut. I don't even conceptually have an idea of what 1,000 acres looks like. I've never seen, at least I don't think, just 1,000 acres of uninterrupted land, and that's not even New York City. That's Hartford, Connecticut. And when I moved, when I went to Spelman, and that's the first time I lived on top of people living in a dorm, having a roommate, and just that was a lot of people. I it sounds like you live in more country than what I did in Connecticut. It's funny because my grandmother used to say, my great grandmother used to say that Connecticut was country. I kind of understand what she means now, even though my family and my mother's side is from
Mm-hmm.
Virginia. But you know what,
Mm-hmm.
the everything that you've said about what is holding us back is because we have not had our reparations. And let's not mention the money that's earmarked for the Ukrainians, and not and because they're undergoing a war and they're refugees, but most certainly was not earmarked for the Black African Haitians because they're Black. They weren't even allowed here. And to sit and pretend like we can't see that you're just giving Ukrainians money because they're white is just, it's asinine. There's absolutely no reason for the United States to be giving refugees from another country any money. And there are countries in the former Soviet Union, the Eastern Bloc that's around Ukraine, that can take them. They want to go there anyway because it's closer to their home. So, the shuffling of money around African descendants, American descendants of the enslaved, um, pretending that the education isn't written to brainwash not just Black people but white people too, because white folks need to learn the true history as well. It is
Absolutely.
it is the thorn in the side of America, and there
Mm-hmm.
will be no peace until enslavement is addressed. And I substitute taught at this prison pipeline school in New Britain, Connecticut. And one of the teachers there was this old white man. And he used to speak the truth
Mm-hmm.
about white folks. He's the one who said that one day. We were talking about I don't know what, but he said until America, or until white people acknowledge the effects of slavery, there will be no peace. And that's true. If they gave Black people reparations, besides the fools who would go buy Gucci belts and stuff a comforter in it so you could see the Gucci on it, which is so ridiculous to me. The rest of us gonna get some property. We gonna get some land. We growing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We gonna make some babies.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and and I think that there are enough Black people who have enough common sense to know what to do with this. We have Black Wall Streets popping up. We have our Black Wall Street on the internet. We have people who are really out here, trying to connect with other Black people who are doing positive things. We've
Mm-hmm.
got the black owned businesses. I'm sorry, Black owned banks.
Mm-hmm.
So I do see some of the progress that's around me, and I encourage other Black people to look at the progress that's around you, because since our communities have been deliberately disturbed, we're not necessarily going to see it the way our parents could see an intact community during segregation,
Mm-hmm.
but it's there. And just trust that where you are, if you see it, and where I am and I see it, and where Rashaad is and he sees it, etc., that we are reconstituting our Black communities. And luckily, there are some white folks who just want to have their own white communities. They don't want to be bothered with us, and I say thank you. And then there are some Black people, we want to be separated in our own Black communities with no house Negroes, my preference, and I say thank you for that as well. Then there are people who want to live in integrated communities. Y'all have fun. Y'all go ahead and do that. And I personally see attempts at that. Even if it's not physically possible, people who only hang out with certain people because there's a certain peace of mind. There's a lawyer from Hartford. He's an older gentleman, an older, well, a highly respected Black man. He got this Black man who was arrested for murder off, like he won the case. This was back in the day. Everyone was like, "Yo, he's a G. He got him." It was like a big murder case, and he beat it from this lawyer. More recently, he has said the race relations in our country today is worse than segregation. It's worse. It's the worst he had ever seen,
Hmm.
and he's got to be in his 70s.
Yeah.
And that's the time that we're living in. It is important that we do our own research from reputable sources. Shrine of Ma'at is a reputable source. What our shrine elder, who's on, by the way, Baba Haru is on. Give a shout out to Baba Haru. I can't see the comment. There it is. Give a little shout out to Baba. Okay. The our high priest and priestess, well, especially Jabari, was taught by some of the great elders who explain African history, who've gone to Africa, who can discuss different elements of it. We have people who are financially aware and speak on what we need in order to reconstitute our Black community. We have people like Rashaad who write books. Those book topics are dope, especially to the eighth grader. Like setting them up. Like this is like pre beginning of your life. Like the beginning of your life is 14. So at 13, when you're in the eighth grade, here is your pre lesson to take control of your life going forward. I did not know you
Hmm.
had that book. I
Hmm.
definitely got to get on that to see what that book is all about. So yes, reparations is something that
Thank you,
is going to
sis.
eventually come. Yes, absolutely. Because we have to continue to fight for it. Now, Rashad, let me ask you this question. What is the National Reparations League?
Sis, the National Reparations League, we are a national organization that's fighting aggressively for the reparations for the descendants of slaves here in the United States. Our goal is reparations first, everything else second. We're looking to raise awareness on a community level. We don't feel like the enthusiasm, the aggression, the tenacity has been there on a community activist level for reparations. We've been waiting on a lot of these old folks in Congress to do something. And when, as you know, 300 years later, we're still in the same predicament. Uh, we're trying to change that. We are learning and researching about which politicians support reparations.
Okay.
We're gathering the data. If a politician does not support reparations, you will know about it through an app that's called the Reparations Report Card. The
Mm,
Reparations Report Card is going to be an app that's just going to keep us updated on upcoming and politicians that are in office, standing politicians, on their views on reparations and the bills pertaining to reparations, such as SB 10 and HR 40, things of that nature. Because we feel if a politician is not for reparations, then he doesn't deserve your vote.
I
Uh,
hear that.
we want to build a black grocery store. We want that to be somewhat of our financing system. Um, there's a problem that I have that every grocery store we go to is mainly white owned. Because if it's a white grocery store, whose products you think they're going to fill those shelves with? Black owned
That's right.
products? Absolutely not. See, once we can control the whole store, then we can put black owned products in it. That's something we want to change. So we're looking to raise about $20,000, put a down payment on some type of building. Traveling to Africa, and then you know this, sis, you realize all grocery stores don't have to be the size of Walmart. A grocery store back in the 60s wasn't that big. It was a small little shop. You know, you have some shelves in there. You just keep it stocked. That's the most important thing. So the size of it, I feel like over the years, we feel like we need this great warehouse to be a grocery store. No, we don't.
Right.
We just need some black people that got some want to. Let's get a building and let's start putting up grocery stores, because we know, as we talked about earlier in New York, not just living on top of each other is a problem, but the food deserts is a problem.
Yep.
You know, you walk down the street, you already get dealing with people that don't have transportation. So this is what happens when you don't have transportation and you're living in a big city and you look outside your door, nothing but fried chicken spots to your left, nothing but fried chicken spots to your right, you know? And this is just unacceptable. We need to have our people need healthy food options. We know one thing, being in a conscious community, that you are a reflection of what you eat. You are a reflection of what you eat. And we
Yep.
get caught up in just the looks. Oh, it's going to make me slim. It's going to make me fat. That's beyond. I don't care about that. I want to
Mm.
know how it's going to make you think. That's what we got to start talking about. If you eat something and it makes you sleepy, guess what? You probably wasn't supposed to eat that.
Period.
Food ain't supposed to make you sleepy.
Food isn't supposed to make you sleepy. It's supposed to fuel
You see
you.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's supposed to fuel you. And that's why so many people making wrong decisions, because they're eating the wrong food. So this is definitely something we are passionate about, we want to tackle. And it might just start off as a little fresh food market on the corner of a street. But little, a little step forward is a lot when you
That's
compare it to
right.
where our people are coming from.
So, how can we get involved?
Absolutely. That's a great question. You can email me at the national, email the organization rather, at National Reparations League at gmail.com. You can DM us at National Reparations League on our Instagram and on Facebook as well. Um, and that's pretty much it. So give us a contact, and we'll get you situated. We got different departments. We have an organizing department. We have a research department. We have a creative department. We have a finance department. We have directors, meaning basically you're over you're somewhere in your state or somewhere in your city. You're making sure that we're on top of all our research and our guidelines and our appointments and our goals. So we have a place for everybody. Whatever you're good at, we can find a use for you. And understand that this is bigger than the group itself. Reparations is how, as you kind of mentioned earlier, that's how you heal America. There is no healing without reparations.
Period.
There is no forgetting. Our people not like that. We're not no, oh, I'm just gonna let you have my car people. What the hell? We're not no, we're just gonna let you steal my 30 acres of land people. We don't roll over like that.
No, we don't. That's why
There
we're still
is no
here.
surrender. We will constantly be. That's why we still here.
That's why we're still
That's why.
here.
So if white people really they've been saying all this stuff, make America great again. If they wanted to make America great again, they would pay reparations.
There'll be reparations. That's right. Now, I know that Rashaad has to go. He has another appointment scheduled right after this. And guys, I am airing this on my phone because my computer was acting a fool tonight. So I went on my phone. I am going to get the list of all of the books. I'm going to get the list of the contact information. And what I'm going to do when I get that information, I'm going to repost the flyer with Rashaad, and I'm going to have the information like in the message part. Okay. So I'm sorry if I couldn't get to the question today. I don't know where the chat button is, and listen, your girl wasn't trying to mess up, and then like we didn't get Rashaad and all of that. So I had to do it a little different tonight, but I will definitely get you that contact information and the name of the books. Okay. So I want to say thank you to Rashaad for really, you know what I'm saying, giving us information that people just don't talk about. That's one of the reasons why I checked him out. I was like, who was this talking about reparations? You don't hear people talking about that. He has another page But then I realized that he was also talking about reparations. And I was like, well, let me see what this brother's talking about. Because I'm skeptical at first. Like, what's he talking about? The page is super dope. It explains a lot, and it gets you, and more importantly, it gets you thinking about what this country does not want us to think about. They owe us reparations. And one thing that we also need to talk about, England owes us reparations as well. The slave trade, the
Facts.
enslavement
Facts.
trade fueled the wealth and therefore power that is in Europe, because
Hmm.
because because the money was traded around. They would not be these big powerful nations and countries had it not been for the work that our ancestors were forced to do, period. Okay? Reparations is something that we all need to be thinking about and aware of, and figure out a way that we can be a part of this movement. So I want to say thank you to the people who came on tonight with Tuesday Talk with reparations. And that's right. I hear something. Black folk don't talk about reparations on the street. You only hear this talk on social media. We have the work we have to do is to make reparations a conversation the way Negroes be talking about Michael Jordan, a Negro who ain't do nothing for Black folks at a large scale, to my knowledge. Okay. We need to be doing those kinds of things so that we can have that as a part of our conversation. So, Rashaad and everyone, I'm gonna end Tuesday Talk for this evening. Thank you so much for everything that we spoke about today. I appreciate everybody who shows up for Tuesday Talk, and I will see you next Tuesday. Shem Ma'at, go forth in peace. Have a
Thank
great
you, sis.
evening.